National Heart Awareness Month is almost over, and last week we learned the very personal story of how close our own NBC6's Willard Shepard came to possibly suffering a cardiac crisis.
I had been exercising daily and eating healthy. I had no symptoms. I kept up with annual exams for my Air Force flying, then for the FAA. Yet, last fall, my cardiologist saw something he didn't like during an annual flight stress test, which led to the discovery of 3 blocked arteries.
We also learned every second counts when someone does have a cardiac event, and there are things that you can do to keep them alive until help arrives. Daryl Turner of One Beat is here now to tell us how to save a life. Daryl, thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you. Well, you know, a lot of people have been talking about this, the defibrillator, our patient, about heart health, after Damar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills suffered his cardiac crisis that nearly killed him on the football field last season. And that brought many of us to the realization of the importance of CPR certifications and how important they can be. So, Daryl, tell us how difficult it is, first off, to learn CPR.
Okay, so CPR, for me, it was kind of difficult. I'm a doctor that works in an emergency room. So the first time I actually learned how to perform CPR was as a med student on a patient that was, unfortunately passed. It's tough. It's a lot harder than you would think, and it takes a lot of workout. So definitely get ready to. I know you're probably going to sweat in a little bit in the blazer, but we should. It's a strenuous workout. But remember, you're attempting to try to prolong somebody's life to being saved. And just so you know, with information from the American Heart Association, that 3 out of 4 cardiac arrests that are not in the hospital happen within the home. So that person that you may be called to do CPR for is going to be someone you either know or you love.
And there's the AED device as well, and that's over here to the side, that can literally save someone's life as well, right?
So basically what this is it's a defibrillator, but we call it the heart shocky thingy, right? Because if you look in any store, and you'll probably never forget this forever, is you'll see the heart with the little lightning bolt on it, and that will let you know that that's the AED. And basically what that does is that helps with the heart whenever it's in a rhythm that we call ventricular fibrillation. So more or less, that means usually your heart beats like this, right? Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. But when it's not beating correctly, it's in fibrillation, it looks like this. It's like quivering. It's set. So when the heart gets shocked, it resets the heart so it can go back to beating correctly. And that's what that's for.
All right, so give me a crash course right now. Show us how it's all done.
Okay, so I'm going to just go through a whole scenario.
Let's do it.
We'll give him a name. We'll call him, what do you want to call him?
What I want to call him?
What do you want to call him?
I want to call him, let's call him JT.
JT.
JT,
okay.
my
JT.
initials, JT.
All right, so here we go. So I see JT. He's out. I come up to him first. I want to check the scene and make sure the scene is safe. I want to make sure that there's nothing that will make me right next to JT and make me unresponsive, because then I'll lead to 2 people that might need help, right? So I come up to JT. First, I'll call out JT's name. JT. JT. JT didn't respond. So I want to tap JT. JT. Wake up, JT. He still isn't waking up. So if you're here to help me, I would tell you to call 911 and tell someone else to go get the AED, which is there. Okay? So the next thing I do is we check a pulse. I don't feel a pulse. I would look to see if he's breathing.
Yeah.
He's not breathing. So I think he's unresponsive. So now I'm going to perform CPR.
Okay.
Put my palm in the center of the chest. I'm going to interlock my fingers for support, get as close as I can, and I'm going to use all my effort from the hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Then I want to give them 2 breaths. Breathe and breathe. And then you would do that a couple rounds at a time.
But this is, the thing here is that you have the sternum right here.
Yes.
And I remember this from when I was in high school, that you can also damage someone's sternum if you do it the wrong, if you don't measure properly and everything, right?
So basically, so you have the hard part of the chest, which is the sternum, right? Okay. And what you're trying to do is you want to aim there. So the thing that most people feel that they're hurting is the rib cage, right?
Yes.
So your ribs, they connect all around, and there's this little thing called the cartilage, which connects to your sternum. That's the little cracking or popping sound that most people think that they're breaking ribs. Here's the thing. If you are doing the compressions correctly, you should hear the popping sound. And you should be less concerned, because remember, you'd rather their heart be alive than their ribs being fractured, okay? So basically you aim for the center of the chest. What used to be taught was the nipple line, but if you just find the hard part of the chest, like you correctly said was the sternum, and you place your strong palm right there. And then you're gonna support your hand.
Okay, let me do this.
Yeah.
Let me get this down.
Oh yeah.
Right there.
Are you
All right.
left-handed or right-handed?
Okay, both.
Okay.
All right.
Interlock
So
your
like this.
fingers. Get a little bit closer.
All right.
All right. So you're gonna just rock your hips, like you know how Shakira uses her hips. You gotta use your hips. You're going into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. You wanna give him 2 breaths. You tilt his head back.
And you tilt his head because this was important too, right?
Yeah.
Because if I don't tilt his head back, if I'm doing it like this and I don't tilt it, nothing's going to come up right here. So that's how I know I'm doing it wrong, correct?
So what you're looking for is you're looking for the chest to rise. So when you lift the head up, it kind of moves everything out the way on an adult. Then you pinch the nose at the same time. So with the right, and then you breathe inside and you look for the chest to rise. And that's to make sure that adequate air gets in there.
How many times? How many breaths?
2 breaths, and then you go right back into compression.
2 breaths.
Yep.
And then I go right back.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. And also, is there any other advice that you have for folks that may be doing this, especially if it's their first time? Because that wasn't easy.
No.
Brother, I'm sweating. You're sweating right now.
But your muscles are bigger than mine, so it might not be as tired as me. The best advice that I can give everyone that does CPR is, 1, to make sure you're doing it correctly and properly. Just follow the techniques we went over today. So just a quick maneuver, just to go through everything again, is remember you're going to take your strong palm and that's going to go to the center of the chest because that's where you're going to get the most of your force. You're going to interlock your fingers. That is to support your wrist because remember you're pushing down with a lot of weight, so this might hurt. So you need as much support as you can. The closer you are, the less energy you have to expend. If the body's further out, you're going to have to work harder. The other thing is go ahead.
And what about in the time of COVID? And how can folks protect themselves? Because everyone's afraid of COVID now, and they're nervous. So they're going through this is like, oh, I don't want to. He may have COVID.
All right. So in this case, I know a lot of people, they'd be concerned about breathing on somebody, especially coming out of a pandemic recently. So the one thing that you can perform is something called hands-only CPR, which basically instead of doing 30 compressions and 2 breaths for 5 cycles in 2 minutes, you give up to 200 compressions over 2 minutes, and then you just recheck the pulse and the breathing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that way you're protected and you're saving a life in the process.
There you go.
All right, my man, Daryl Turner, thank you so much for joining us for this all-important lesson on heart health safety. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, JT. Good sport.